well. Sam Austin, Truro have lost all their games so far. To the vitality in the Premier League on TalkSport, Matt Murray and Alex Crook.
And it's still Bournemouth 1, 10-man Wolves. Now Marcus Tavernier with the only goal inside the first 5 minutes. Wolves seeing their captain Totti sent off early in the second half, barging over Evan Nilsson when he was bearing down on Jose Sarr in the Wolves goal. They have got a free kick though, the visitors. It was a high challenge from Alex Scott on Santiago Bueno. An opportunity maybe here to test Georgi Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal. It's a low free kick and it's put straight into the wall. Matt Murray, former Wolves goalkeeper, is alongside me. I wanted to ask you about Jorgen Strand last night. He had that one-headed chance in the first half when maybe he should have done better. The effort pushed wide by Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal, but he's held the ball up well. He's knocked it down at times as well inside the penalty area, feeding off scraps. Do you understand why Newcastle United are looking at him as a possible replacement for Callum Wilson?
Yeah, look, that's what I think he is. I think he'd be a backup striker for the level of Newcastle for what they're looking to do. I don't think, look, if they're going to lose Isak, he's certainly not going to replace him. I still think around 50 million would be more than enough for him. He's honest, he works hard, as you said there, he puts himself about. I think he'd be disappointed with the header. I've always liked him, the Wolves fans like him, I think he's grown, but he's going to be so frustrated, especially being down to 10 men. He has fed off scraps. But Wolves, the only way I think they get back into it is a set piece. Agbadou there, fired it straight into the wall, but I think that's the only way from, they try and stay in the game and then try and force a mistake or a set piece, but at the moment, that's Semenyo chance as well is a great chance, but yeah, Larson for me, just feeding off scraps, but he's a good player.
Yeah, just to reiterate, our understanding is the Wolves have made it pretty clear to Newcastle that Strand Larsen isn't for sale between now and the window closing on September the 1st. It would take a massive offer, I think, to change that stance. And just on Alexander Isak, Adrian, I heard you debating what could happen after Liverpool-Newcastle on Monday night live on TalkSport. As we sit here now, I would be surprised if Isak leaves Newcastle. I think he stays. 1-0 Bournemouth.
Let's see what happens between now and the end of the window. Now, Coventry scored 5 last week. They're scoring even more this week. There's another one. Jeff Peters.
It's Coventry City 7, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Victor Torp has scored his second goal of the second half, and what a brilliant strike. Outside the box, he's curled it beyond the keeper, right into the top corner. It's just been an unbelievable game. Coventry 5-0 up in the first half. 2 for Haji Wright, 2 for Jack Rodoni, 1 for Brandon Thomas-Asante. The first time that QPR had conceded 5 in the first half of a league game in 21 years. And the last time that QPR conceded 7 goals in a league match was September 2018 against West Brom. They have been pitiful. The Sky Blues genuinely have been magnificent, and they've got that 7. They're in 7th heaven. Coventry 7, brackets SEVEN, Queen's Park Rangers 0.
Right, there's a red card of a different kind at the Hawthorns. John Dunn.
West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1, 70 minutes gone. Ryan Mason, the Albion manager, has been sent off. 2 yellow cards, both involving his striker, Arne Hegber. The first one, 67 minutes, big penalty appeals. Jason Lumby slipping the ball through to the Albion striker. Clean through on goal, looked as though he was tripped. That was not given. Mason shown a yellow card. A minute later, ball over the top. Hegber chasing it. Clearly had his shirt pulled by Portsmouth defender Regan Bull. Referee didn't give it. Hegber tried to stay on his feet. Shot went wide. Mason shown a second yellow card after remonstrating with the 4th official. Referee is Elliot Bell. The game on a knife edge now. We're all square. It's West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1. Ryan Mason sent off.
Premier League latest then, Bournemouth 1, 10-man Wolves 0, Brentford 1, Villa 0, here at Turf Moor still Burnley 1, Sunderland 0. Championship latest, Birmingham 1, Oxford 0, Coventry 7, QPR 0, Norwich down to 10 men 0, Middlesbrough 2, Preston 1, Ipswich 0, Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1, Southampton 0, 10-man Stoke 1, West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1, Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. League 1 latest, Wimbledon have gone 2 up against Barnsley. Antoine Hackford, former Sheffield United youngster, with the second. Bolton 0, Lincoln 1. Huddersfield have taken the lead against Stevenage. The Stevenage 100% record is under threat. Alfie May with the goal for Huddersfield. Mansfield 3, 10-man Leyton Orient 1. Northampton 2, Exeter 0. Peterborough 0, Bradford 1. Plymouth 1, Blackpool 0. Port Vale 0, Doncaster 1. Stockport down to 10 men. Trail Burton at home 1-0. And Wycombe 1, Reading 2. League 2 latest. Accrington equalise against Grimsby 1-1. Tyler Walton. Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge 0. Barnet 1 up at Cheltenham. Barrow lead 1-0 at Colchester. Tranmere lead 1-0 at Crawley. Fleetwood 1, Oldham 1. Gillingham and Crewe are still goalless. Gillingham unbeaten, Crewe 100%. Harrogate 1, Chesterfield 1. Notts County 2, Bromley 1. Swindon 1, Shrewsbury 0. And in the National League, Brackley 2, Rochdale 1. Braintree's goalless, Eastleigh goalless. Gateshead lead Tamworth 1-0. Halifax 1, Forest Green 1. Hartlepool 3, Woking 0. Solihull Moors 1, Aldershot 4. Kwame Thomas has just got the 4th. Sutton 2, Scunthorpe 3. Dan Whitehall gives Scunthorpe the lead again. And Southend lead 1-0 at Truro. Stockport have equalised against Burton 1-1. Jack Diamond on 69. Scottish Premiership, Celtic are 1 up. Motherwell 3-1 up at Hearts. Kilmarnock Dundee's goalless. And in the Scottish Championship, Airdrie 1 up against Queen's Park. Morton 1, Ayr 2. Ross County 1, Partick 2. And St Johnstone 3. Arbroath 0. Stevie Mallan with the 3rd for St Johnstone. You're listening to Game Day Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it.
Game Day Live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games flexibly with Now. Like Arsenal versus Leeds United live today. Search Now Sports 18+ free via internet. Terms apply.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then his game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boost. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Game Day Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Monday night, the Premier League live on TalkSport.
And it's gone straight in!
Triple filtered freeze-dried commentary. Newcastle versus Liverpool.
He's done it again!
Prelims from 7, kick-off 8 p.m. sharp. Monday night, fast, furious football talk
A moment of magic!
on the nation's favourite, TalkSport.
We've got Super League live tomorrow on TalkSport 2. Saints won last night, top of the table. Hull KR was smashed on Thursday night at Leeds. What can Wigan do against Wakey tomorrow from 2:45? That's on TalkSport 2. National League, Gateshead get a second against Tamworth. It's a second this afternoon for Will Flint. Latest here at Turf Moor in the Premier League. TalkSport's Mickey Gray.
Still Burnley 1, Sunderland 0, separated by that Josh Cullen goal in the second half. Sunderland have been very, very poor in the second half. They haven't got anything going. They just made a triple change. Adingra, Mayenda and Talby have just gone off for Isidore, Lafee and Patrick Roberts to try and make something happen in this second half. Burnley just controlling things. They're not creating too many opportunities themselves, but I have to say, Hannibal Medjugorje has been absolutely fantastic in the game so far. The standout player, but not many chances going on in the game, Adrian. Burnley 1, Sunderland 0.
You're underwhelmed by Sunderland compared to last week?
Yeah, I think they've been really poor. I think it's great that they got 3 points on the board at home. And at the moment, it looks like Burnley are going to do exactly the same in front of their home supporters. But you've got to come away from home sometimes and do something a little bit different. I'm not seeing anything different from Sunderland. And they look really poor in that final third.
Yeah, just the one shot on target. That chance that Mayenda had in the first half that he really should have buried. But it's Burnley 1, Sunderland 0. Hearts pull another one back with a trail 3-2 at home to Motherwell in the Scottish Premiership. Back to the Premier League in England, to the G-Tech on TalkSport. Troy Deeney and Ian Abrams.
And it remains Brentford 1, Aston Villa, just in a very, very, very rare Brentford attack. Angel Watara's goal. Still the difference between these two sides, but the game is now set into a pattern where Villa are trying to attack. Brentford are trying, it seems, already to hang on for a 1-0 win, which seems a little bit troubling, Troy, because we're quite a long way out from the end of the game. They have made a change on Nicker on for Henderson, but Villa have brought on Daniel Marlin. You called for that. You called for Ian Matson. He's on as well. But no real change to what they're trying to do. No, weirdly, you know, Marlin, who's a winger by trade, should be hugging the touchline. Again, keeps running inside. Oh, Brentford are set up for everything to come through the middle. They're allowing Villa to cross the ball. But they need people to run in behind it. They need to get some quality in. And at the minute, it's had a little effect that's gone forward and a little positive burst for Aston Villa. But it's all for Brentford. And I said to you before it came to us, Brentford feel a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. They're not used to being in these winning ways. So if Aston Villa are to capitalise and get a goal, I think they'll go on to win the game.
Here's Ollie Watkins inside the penalty area. Does get a shot, but it's blocked. John McGinn will get there ahead of the defender, but in the end, it's going to be a
focus has been on Ollie Watkins. Good record against his old club Brentford, 6 in 7, but his recent record, not great. 4 in his last 20, and it's a World Cup year. He needs to step it up, no doubt. The lads are right. Let's go to the Vitality on TalkSport. Matt Murray and Alex Crook.
It's still Bournemouth 1, 10-man Wolves 0, but the home side struggling to get the second goal that surely would kill this game off. They've had one excellent chance since you were last here. Well, one excellent save from Jose Sarr in the Wolves goal. Anyway, the ball was pumped up to the edge of the penalty area. Lovely layoff from Evan Nilsson, rolling the ball perfectly into the path of Tyler Adams. He let fly from around about 20 yards out. It was a fierce effort, brilliantly tipped over the bar by Sarr. They're dominating possession now, as you would expect. Wolves down to 10 men since the 49th minute when Totti was sent off for bundling over Evan Nilsson, but they're not creating chance after chance. We spoke about Jürgen Strand-Larsen, Matt, when Adrian was last with us. What about Evan Nilsson at the other end? As Bournemouth come on the attack again, Christie's shot deflected into the arms of Sarr. Are you surprised, given the dearth of out-and-out frontmen in the Premier League, that maybe he's not on a few radars, Evan Nilsson?
Yeah, it definitely should be on radars, because I think he's really sharp. He had that big moment when Totti got sent off. He's looked good, he's linked the play, he plays on the shoulder, he's proven that he can play in the Premier League. I think he started off a little bit slowly at Bournemouth, but now he's a real favourite here. But Iraola will just be really, really disappointed at the moment, because the fact that they're having all the play, all the possession, but there's only been that one real chance, and while it stays 1-0, you just never know. Just one little bit of lapse of concentration, one bit of magic, Wolves can get back into it. But yeah, it's been all Bournemouth. But yeah, Evan Nilsson, I think he could, he's one that definitely, in this current market, you could see someone maybe coming through, but I think Bournemouth have, they will retain him this window.
15 minutes to go, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0.
In League 2, Barrow go 2 up at Colchester. Lewis Shipley, Colchester facing back-to-back defeats. National League, Braintree take the lead against Yeovil 1-0. Celtic double their lead against Livingston 2-0. It's Game Day Live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Arsenal Leeds live today. Search Now Sports. Around the grounds in the Championship. St Mary's, first of all, TalkSport's Lawrence Mora.
Southampton 0, Stoke 1. Remember, Stoke down to 10 men. 2 glorious chances for the Saints in their last few minutes. Flynn Downs with a header, and Ross Stewart arriving on the 6-yard box, and both failing to hit the target. Stoke desperately trying to see this out, but 72 on the clock. Long way to go. Southampton 0, Stoke 1.
TalkSport takes you to Carrow Road in the Championship. Mike Sewell.
12 minutes left here. Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 2. Goals from Azaz and Conway. Norwich are down to 10 men though. Jacob Wright sent off just shy of the hour mark. 2 good chances since then. Topic for Norwich, narrowly wide, and Hansen had a shot saved by Kovacevic at the other end. Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 2.
What's happening at the Hawthorns? TalkSport's John Dunn.
10 to go, West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1. West Brom led at the break. Colby Bishop with a glancing header equalising. He's had another chance as well. Similar effort, just wide. West Brom with 2 big penalty appeals turned away by referee Elliot Bell. Ryan Mason, their head coach, has been sent off after disputed a number of decisions. 10 to go, West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1.
Stockport were... Well, they were 1-0 up at half-time in midweek and lost 2-1. They're 1-0 down at half-time today. They're 2-1 up. Ollie Norwood, probably arguably best player in League One, has got the goal. Stockport 2, Burton Albion 1. Remember, Stockport with 10 men. New signing Brad Hill sent off. Let's check in on Coventry's tally at the CBS. Jeff Peters.
It's Coventry City 7, Queen's Park Rangers 0. 5-0 at half-time. 2 goals apiece for Hadji Wright, Jack Radoni and Victor Torp. Brandon Thomas Asante with the other. Their record score in the league, by the way, was against Bristol City in 1934 in the 3rd Division South. Can they get it to 9-0? QPR's record defeat 8-1 to Manchester United in March 1969. They've lost 7-1 a couple of times, the most latest in 2018. They've been abysmal today, they really have. It's Coventry 7, QPR 0.
National League easily take the lead against Boston 1-0. Chesterfield have gone 2-1 up at Harrogate. Shea Dunkley, the centre-half, with it. Goal at St Mary's, Lawrence Mora.
Southampton 0, 10-man Stoke 2, and Sorba Thomas is the man who's got it. It's all come from his own goalkeeper. Johansson coming off his line, collecting across, and then bowling it out. Southampton had committed so many players forward that Thomas was one-on-one. He just sprinted over those legs and left-footed, played the ball into the far corner of the net. The Welsh international has been in scintillating form, and he's doubled the Potters' lead. Southampton 0, Stoke 2.
Stoke going to keep up their 100% record, but what about this? At the racecourse, Chris Hull.
82 minutes gone. It's now Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. It's been all Wednesday in this second half, and they thoroughly deserve this leveller. Coming back from 2-0 down, the ball is pulled back from about 6 yards out. There's Bailey Cadamarteri, who lashes the ball home into the roof of the net, and it's what Wednesday deserve. Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
Tranmere get a second at Crawley, 2-1. Amari Patrick has got that goal. Queen's Park equaliser Airdrie in the Scottish Championship. That is one apiece. Forest Green go 2-1 up at Halifax in the National League. The signing from Rochdale, Cairo Mitchell with the goal. Back to the Championship, to St Andrews on TalkSport. Tom Ross.
Birmingham 1, Oxford 0, 12 to go, 63% possession, Birmingham City in the second half. They've pushed and pushed and pushed, but Oxford have defended superbly, and not a chance in the game for Birmingham, although they're dominating the ball. Still leading though, Birmingham 1, Oxford 0.
We'll take you to Deepdale on TalkSport. Simon Crabtree.
Well, it's still Preston North End 1, Ipswich Town 0. That 11-minute penalty from Osmajic. The difference between these two teams. Both sides have just made 5 changes, most notably for Preston. Daniel Jebison making his debut on loan from Bournemouth, while Ipswich Town have given Casey McAteer and Chuba Apcon their debuts in this one as well. Ipswich dominating, but just can't hit the target, which is why it's Preston 1, Ipswich 0 with 7 to go.
Hearts have equalised. They were 3-1 down a moment ago. Claudio Braga's got 2. Hearts 3. Motherwell 3. Celtic go 3-0 up on Livingston. Johnny Kenny with the third for them. Barnet in League 2 are leading 1-0 at Cheltenham, but they've had Emmanuel Osadebe sent off at Wadden Road this afternoon. We're going to Bramall Lane on TalkSport in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1. Mihailo Ivanovic wasted a great chance to seal it for Millwall, who ever since have been hanging on, relying on great saves from Stephen Bender to deny both Louis Barry and Gus Sama. Harrison Burrows has hit the post. Tyrese Campbell has just had a header cleared off the line. Big blades pressure. Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1.
Game day phone-in is coming up at 5:30 with O'Hara and Cundy. Rory Jennings after that, 7:30 through till 9. Then Fight Night with Adam Cattrall and Gareth A. Davis. All things boxing from 9 through till midnight. It's Game Day live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Game Day live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then his game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boost. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus gambleware.org.
Game Day live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games flexibly with Now. Like Arsenal versus Leeds United live today. Search Now Sports 18 plus screen via internet. Terms apply.
Apocalyptic football intelligence. Game Day live. TalkSport.
Earlier live and exclusive on TalkSport, finished Man City 0, Spurs 2 in the Premier League. Brennan Johnson and Gerard Polini up with the goals. It was live on TalkSport. There's another goal in the Championship, another one at St Mary's. Lawrence Mora.
And it's now Southampton 1, Stoke 2. Harwood Bellis, he's had a couple of opportunities from corners, and one of them brilliantly saved by Victor Johansson. But this one, he had a free run, and again powered his header. This time Johansson, absolutely no chance. The Saints, remember, have 11 against 10 against Stoke. We're into the last 10 minutes, and it's Southampton 1, Stoke 2.
And a goal at Carrow Road in the Championship. TalkSport's Mike Sewell.
It's Norwich 1, 10-man Norwich that is, Middlesbrough 2. No prizes for guessing who scored. It's Josh Sargent again for the 4th game running. The ball played through towards Sargent, who got beyond the back man and then lifted it over the head of Saul Bryn into the Middlesbrough net. They probably had better possession since they went down to 10 men. They've now got 5 minutes plus stoppage time to find an equaliser. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2.
Well, Captain Sargent has scored in all 4 games this season. He's surpassed 50 goals for the club with that run as well. He is being linked with moves away to Roma, Leeds, Wolfsburg and here at Burnley as well. Liam Manning wants to keep him at Norwich, says he role models everything you want. Top person, top professional, top class. Sounds like he's doing his best to sell in there. Let me give you a little quirky stat though. Josh Sargent, USA international and USA co-hosting the World Cup next summer. He's got a lot to prove because he hasn't actually scored for the USA since 2019. Josh Sargent, and maybe he feels a Premier League move might just help him do that. Time running out in the window. We'll keep you in touch on TalkSport with all the transfers. Head to the website talksport.com. Latest here at Turf Moor alongside me, TalkSport's Mickey Gray.
We're coming into the final 10 minutes of the game. It's still Burnley 1, Sunderland 0, and Sunderland just not asked any questions of Burnley at the back in this second 45 minutes. A real lacklustre performance. Burnley is just staying in their lines. They're making it hard for Sunderland to break them down. They haven't really created too much themselves. Just having a bit of a blow here for Burnley as Sunderland did in the first half. Ballard going off for Sunderland. Instead is limping off the pitch at the moment. Quite sure who's coming on at the back for him. But it's been one of those games, kind of a championship game, a bit scrappy, no quality in the final third, but it's Burnley who look like they're taking all 3 points. I think it's Joe Worrell who's taken the place of Esteve at the back for Burnley. But Burnley looking like they're going to pick up all 3 points at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Sunderland 0.
I think Burnley are trying to do what they did last year, and that's just not concede goals. They didn't concede more than 1 goal in any of their 46 championship games last season, then conceded 3 on day 1 of the Premier League last week. But this is a real rearguard action. They've got in front, and the mantra is from Scott Parker and the Burnley staff: do not concede a goal.
Yeah, well, it's going to be important
as all the sides being promoted and winning your home games. It looks like Burnley are going to do that. Look, they haven't created too many chances in this game, and I think you do worry for them moving forward. But they have to try and make this a real fortress of sides when they come here like they did last season. But we know the Premier League's different to the Championship altogether.
It is still 1-0 to Burnley here in the 84th minute. Bromley equaliser Notts County in League 2, 2-2 that. Aldershot hadn't won before today. They'd lost all their games. They're 5-1 up at Solihull Moors. Football makes no sense. Let's go to the G-Tech in the Premier League on TalkSport. Troy Deeney and Ian Abrahams.
8.5 minutes to go here. Still Brentford 1, Villa 0. Dango Ouattara's goal has separated these two sides for an awful long time now, but it's attack v defence, and the attack of Villa, you feel it's only a matter of time until they're going to at least have a shot on target. Although, to be fair, Troy Deeney alongside me, every time Villa get the ball on the edge of the penalty area, nobody wants to have a shot. I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, it kind of feels to me like Morgan Rogers and Watkins have heard that Thomas Tuchel's here because he's in the stands watching, and it's like they wanted to show, like, look how good of a footballer I am, instead of doing what they're good at. Edge of the box 3 or 4 times in the last 5 minutes. It's there just to have a shot. There's so many bodies, it takes a deflection, who knows what happens, but they're trying to be neat and too particular with it, and both of them have looked really poor. One big thing we do need to mention, Buendia, who came on for the injured Kamara in the early goals of this game, was actually doing really well, probably Villa's brightest spark. Been resubbed, the sub has been resubbed. They put Rodgers in the middle, and Rodgers looks miles better as a 10. I think that's a bit of a power play from Unai Emery to the board to say, look, I haven't got the players, I haven't got the squad that I want to change, but he's going to have to deal with this situation really well, because that could be a bit of a problem with Buendia now kicking off when he came off.
Yeah, plus also 3 kids and 2 goalkeeping subs on the bench as well. I think that there's certainly frustration amongst Unai Emery. It's Brentford 1, Villa 0.
Getting their first point of the season. Well, they've got their first goal from open play this season. Peterborough 1, Bradford City 1. Cian Hayes, the winger, on 91 minutes. Darren McAntony, the chairman, saying on his podcast this week that he's optimistic. I'm looking forward to what's to come, he said. We're 1 win away from something special, he said. The football gods have got me on the naughty step, he said. Played 5, lost 5 before today. 1-1 would be cause for celebration, believe me, this evening. Late goal, 89th minute, Gillingham League Crew 1-0 in League 2. Sam Gale with the goal. Crew's 100% record is under threat. Let's go to the Vitality on TalkSport. Matt Murray and Alex Crew.
2 minutes of normal time remaining. It's Bournemouth 1, Wolves down to 10 men. Bournemouth continuing to dictate the pace of this game. They've had a couple of chances as well. Justin Kluivert, who scored a hat-trick of penalties in this fixture last season, he's come off the bench for the closing stages. He put 1 effort from the edge of the penalty area, just wide of the post, and he then put a free kick straight into a Wolves wall. At the moment, Matt, your former club look resigned to defeat.
Yeah, look, they've huffed and they've puffed, excuse the pun, with the Wolves, but they just can't do anything at the moment. They've worked hard, they've got back into shape, but they just don't look. I think Troy described it as one of the games toothless here for Wolves, not really looked a threat at all. Hee-Chan Wang's come on up front, not had a kick, not had any service. And yeah, and interesting to talk about press conferences. Vitor Pereira's might be very, very interesting because, again, I just don't think you're giving him the tools. You're sending him to war with a water pistol here. He has not got the players. He needs more backing. And at the moment, it's been pretty comfortable for Petrovic. I think I could have played in that Bournemouth goal in the second half.
Yeah, it's interesting that Hwang has come off the bench. He's been heavily linked with a move to Crystal Palace. There is interest there, I'm told. Matt Hobbs, once in charge of recruitment at Wolves, is going in as the new director of football. He'd love to take Hwang with him, but at the moment Palace only willing to do a loan deal. Speaking to sources at Wolves before the game, they would prefer a permanent transfer. They're 1-0 down here and we've got 30 seconds to play.
Burnley have sealed it here at Turf Moor. This one is done. 3 points to the Clarets. Mickey Gray.
Burnley 2, Sunderland 0, and it's Jayden Anthony with his first goal of the Premier League season. Wonderful build-up play from Burnley on the right-hand side. A great through ball. He got on his bike, he used his pace, he outpaced the back line of Sunderland, got into the 18-yard area, just dinked the ball around Robin Rueffs and slided the ball into the roof of the net to double Burnley's lead. It's all they deserve here this afternoon. This play.
Anthony, a really good goal. On the break as Sunderland are trying to get back on level terms, to be fair, but they played it quickly, played it crisply, played it sharply, and Jayden Anthony did everything right when he was faced with an on-rushing goalkeeper. Burnley 2, Sunderland 0. There's another goal at Coventry. Jeff Peters.
It's Coventry City 7, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Richard Kone has scored his first for the club from close range. Couple of minutes of added time remaining. Probably not a comeback. Coventry 7, QPR 1.
Yeah, no comeback is my guess as well, but Kone will be pleased with that. His first goal for QPR since his £2.75 million move from Wycombe. That's rising to £5 million, a record fee received for Wycombe Wanderers, and that's actually his first goal in 13 games. So for him, it might mean something having just come on as sub, but for QPR, it's fairly meaningless. Coventry 7, QPR 1. Morton equalised against Ayr United 2-2. Eamon broke his second of the game. Partick get a third at Ross County 3-1. Stephen Lawless on 92. Shrewsbury with a 90th minute equaliser at Swindon 1-1. Callum Stewart with the equaliser for Michael Appleton's side. Latest scores then as we wait for full-time whistles. Bournemouth 1, 10-man Wolves 0. Brentford 1, Villa 0. Burnley 2, Sunderland 0. Championship, Birmingham 1, Oxford 0. Coventry 7, QPR 1. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2. Preston 1 up against Ipswich. Sheffield United 0. Millwall 1. Southampton 1, 10-man Stoke 2. West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1. Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. In League 1, Wimbledon 2 upon Barnsley. Lincoln 1 up at Bolton. Huddersfield 1, Stevenage 0. Mansfield 3, Orient 1. Orient down to 10 men. Northampton 2, Exeter 0. Peterborough 1, Bradford 1. Plymouth 1, Blackpool 0. Port Vale 0, Doncaster 1. Stockport with 10 men 2. Burton Albion 1. Wycombe 2, Reading 2. James Tilley has just equalised for Wycombe, the former Wimbledon man. Port Vale 0, Doncaster 1 is a full-time score. Whistle has gone at Vale Park. It's another win and a good start for Grant McCann's Doncaster Rovers. In League 2, Accrington 1, Grimsby 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge United 0. Barnet with 10 men lead 1-0 at Cheltenham. Colchester 0, Barrow 2. Crawley 0, Tranmere 2. Fleetwood 1, Oldham 1. Gillingham 1 up on Crewe. Chesterfield lead at Harrogate 2-1. Notts County 2, Bromley 2. And Swindon 1, Shrewsbury 1. Right, let's head to Bramall Lane in the Championship on TalkSport. Alan Biggs.
It's Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1. That's 2 wins out of 3 for the Lions. No points on the board at all in Sheffield United's 3 league games. They've lost all 4 overall so far under Ruben Sayers, but there were signs of hope in the performance at least, despite the boos at half-time and full-time. I thought the boos at the whistle just now were harsh because Sheffield United dominated the second period, but the damage was done in the first when they were toothless, and Luke Cundle punished them for a more dominating Millwall. After the break, isolated chances for the visitors, but a different story as Millwall lent on some brilliance, absolute brilliance from Stephen Bender in goal. Fantastic saves from Louis Barry and Gus Harmer. Several other players went close. At Bramall Lane it's finished
Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1.
Lost all their games, all competitions. Sheffield United lost 3 in the Championship, all 3 in the Championship. Not lost 4 in a row to start the season since the mid-1990s. What a shambolic summer it has been at Bramall Lane. All over, full time. They've declared at Coventry. Jeff Peters.
Coventry 7, QPR 1, an extraordinary day of celebration for the Sky Blues after announcing that Doug King had bought the stadium off Mike Ashley. The first time the club had ever owned the ground themselves. They decided to put on a glorious... They led 5-0 at half-time, 2 goals apiece for Hadji Wright and Jack Rodoni, with Brandon Thomas-Asante getting the other. Victor Torp grabbed a brace after the restart. His second was magnificent. Richard Coney came off the bench to pull one back in added time, his first for the club. But this truly has been an outstanding few hours for the Sky Blues on and off the field. Coventry 7, QPR 1.
Wow. Mansfield get a 4th against Orient, 4-1. Luke Bolton on 95. And just as Shrewsbury equalise at Swindon go back in front. Billy Bowden back at the club on 93 minutes. Right, full time at Wrexham. TalkSport's Chris Hull.
Wrexham 2, Wednesday 2. Both sides arrived this afternoon with nil far from their opening 2 games, but Wednesday have fantastically fought back this afternoon from 2 down to share the spoils. A first and second Wrexham goal for Welsh striker Kiefer Moore. More painfully for Wednesday fans, a former Blade. Both goals smashed home from inside the 6-yard box, but Owls 35-year-old skipper and conductor Barry Bannon on his 450th appearance was sensational. The conductor pulling the strings, he got one back, then Bailey Kadamatri deservedly hammering the visitors level into the roof of the net. It's a point for Crisis Club Wednesday, showing amazing character and rightfully have their first point on the board. Boos from Wrexham fans at the end. Wrexham 2, Wednesday 2.
97th minute own goal from Tom Hamer makes it Bolton 1, Lincoln 1, an equaliser then for Bolton. Lincoln scored in the first minute, Bolton have scored in the 97th. Closing stages, Vitality, Matt Murray, Alex Crook.
Well, it's still Bournemouth 1, 10-man Wolves 0. This might be the last chance that Wolves will have of an equaliser. It was a corner in the 6th minute of stoppage time. They sent Jose Sarr forward from the back. It was clear to the edge of the penalty area, and Hugo Bueno has just hammered it high into the stands away to our right. We've played now the 6 minutes that were indicated as minimal stoppage time. Bournemouth took the lead on 4 minutes in the first half. Marcus Tavernier with a deflected effort that went in off the underside of the crossbar, and 4 minutes into the second half, Wolves reduced to 10 men. Their captain Totti sent off for pushing down Evan Nilsson when he was one-on-one with goalkeeper Jose Sarr, and there goes the full-time whistle. Bournemouth have clocked their first ever Premier League win over Wolves here at the Vitality Stadium. It's their first win of the season as well, and Matt Murray in the end, they deserved it.
Yeah, they did deserve it. Obviously it came out of the traps really quickly. Really well, took the goal well. Great bit of play from Semenyo to set up Tavernier, and then Wolves, to be fair, did sort of weather a little bit of a storm and had a few little glimpses, but all in all, yeah, it was definitely the home side that had looked more threatening going forward, were better out of possession, and then once the Wolves went down to 10 men, you just did not see them getting back into it. But while it remained 1-0, then maybe that set piece at the end could have been that lifeline, but it didn't happen, and yeah, definitely a well-deserved win for Bournemouth.
It's back-to-back defeats then at the start of the season for Wolves. You feel they're going to need to get busy in the final week of the transfer window. In fact, since May the 1st, no team in the Premier League have picked up fewer points. Finishes here, Bournemouth 1, 10-man Wolves 0.
I'm getting more from Matt Murray a little bit later on, but let's get full-time in the Championship at St Andrews. TalkSport's Tom Ross.
Birmingham 1, Oxford 0. Another home win for the Blues, but for Oxford, 3 defeats on the spin. But this was about a first half where Birmingham took the lead thanks to a wonderful strike from Paik Sung-ho inside the box, bottom right-hand corner. Apart from that, though, they had better chances. The second half was a non-event as Oxford defended magnificently despite Birmingham having most of the possession. But yet another win for Birmingham in the Championship. Birmingham 1, Oxford 0.
Burnley going close to a third, but stays 2-0. Closing stages at Brentford. Troy Deeney and Ian Abrahams.
Still Brentford 1, Villa 0. Dango Ouattara's goal on 12 minutes. Looks like being the winner here. He managed to get his second effort after Emi Martinez has saved his first when he was set clear from a long Keller clearance that was flicked on. And then after that we saw another goal for Brentford that was chalked out for a foul on the goalkeeper. Long throw. Emi Martinez dropped it. Wonderful volley from Damsgaard into the penalty area, in off the bar, but it was ruled out by VAR. Second half has been so perplexing for Villa. They've had all the ball. They've had shots from distance and not many from inside the penalty area. Only 2 on target in the entire game. Wouldn't say that Keller has been overworked. And in front of Thomas Tuchel, I don't think Ollie Watkins has impressed. I don't think that either Morgan Rogers has impressed. I don't think anybody would have impressed him here today, apart from Jordan Henderson, who went off just after the hour mark. He was really solid in Brentford's midfield. Looks like they're going to see it out now with 10 seconds to go. Jensen pulls the ball down and feeds Lewis Potter down the left-hand side. If I was him, I'd go for the corner flag. It looks like he might try and go inside. He does. Jensen back to Lewis Potter inside the penalty area, through to the goalkeeper. And Tony Harrington calls the full-time whistle. And it's Keith Andrews' first ever win as Brentford manager, and you can't say really they haven't worked hard for it. And Troy Deeney, you can't say really they haven't deserved it, because Villa just didn't do enough to try and win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Buzzing for Keith and the team. A lot of people, like myself, questioning whether he can do it, you know, with the departing players. But it looks like he's built a team that's together, working hard for each other. This game will be massive for them going forward. A huge win. Aston Villa have a lot of problems. So many players wanting to play as a 10. No balance, no structure, no real idea. And unfortunately now we're going to have to see what Unai Emery can do, because I'm looking down at him very frustrated and seeing some players go over to the Villa fans, and there's not many left. And a lot of Villa fans just to our right here, hands out saying, what was that? And again, I take a lot of pleasure as a Birmingham City fan seeing them in trouble, but I actually think right now, if I was a Villa fan, I'd be fuming. No clue of what they're going to do, no real shot as you alluded to, no real options off the bench. For a team that just missed out on the Champions League on the last game of last season, this looks chalk and cheese.
A win for Keith Andrews, though, for all the Brentford's problems over the summer. They got the job done. Brentford 1, Villa 0.
Arsenal, by the way, have confirmed the signing of Ebery Chiesa. He is now officially an Arsenal player. Obviously won't play today. Arsenal Leeds at 5:30. They'll keep you in touch with the updates from that on the game day phone-in. Get your calls in 03717223344. Cambridge have had a man sent off late on at Bristol Rovers, and they've lost 1-0 as well. Full time in the Championship at Norwich. Talk Sports, Mike Saul.
Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2. 3 wins out of 3 for Borough, who in the end were made to work for it by 10-man Norwich. They scored twice in the space of 3 minutes at the end of the first half. Finn Azaz and Tommy Conway, and they were in complete control when Jacob Wright was sent off for Norwich just shy of the hour mark for a poor challenge on Aidan Morris. But to Norwich's credit, they fought incredibly hard for the last half hour or so and got a goal back through Josh Sargent, his 4th in 4 games, and they threatened all the way through to the 10th minute of added time, but they couldn't come up with an equaliser as Borough held on. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2.
And we're about to hit full time here at Turf Moor. Burnley going to get a first win of the season. Mickey Gray.
They are Burnley 2, Sunderland 0. Burnley are just hoping for that full-time whistle, which is seconds away now, and they thoroughly deserved it after their second half performance. They dominated this game. Sunderland very lacklustre, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board when it comes to playing away from home. And there is the full-time whistle, where it is finished. Burnley 2, Sunderland 0, where Burnley are off and running, but we had to wait until that second half for Burnley's first shot on target, and it ended up in a cool finish on 48 minutes from Josh Cullen, who fired into the bottom corner. A floodlight failure did dull Burnley's performance or brighten up Sunderland's afternoon. At home side continued to dominate and lacklustre Black Cat showing, and the Claret doubled their lead on 88 minutes when Jadon Anthony ran onto a through ball and coolly rounded the keeper and slotted home to seal all 3 points for Scott Parker's men. A winning defeat for these 2 promoted sides, but it's Burnley who come out on top today. Finished here, Burnley 2, Sunderland 0.
Well, Scott Parker's got a big smile on his face, and any wonder this was crucial. I know it's early season, second week, Mickey Gray, but back-to-back wins to start the season for Sunderland. would have given them enormous confidence going forward. Back-to-back defeats could have been very damaging for Burnley. It was almost like Burnley had to win this against a side who they finished 24 points ahead of in the Championship last season.
Yeah, it felt like a 6-pointer already, Adrian, because let's not beat about the bush. I think these two sides, come the end of the season, will be fighting in a relegation battle to try and stay in this division. And home form is absolutely key. But if I look at Sunderland today, it was a really poor performance after a couple of early opportunities in the game. Dan Ballard leaving with a groin injury is a bit of a blow for Sunderland as well. But you look at the away support that they brought to this stadium here today, they haven't really performed for them today, and I think that might be concerning for Regis Labrie, the Sunderland manager, as well. But you're right, Scotty Parker, he got his side organised, very hard to break down today, and they just took their chances. Thoroughly deserved all 3 points today, and this place, as you can hear right now, it's absolutely bouncing. Big win for Burnley.
Yeah, party time at Turf Moor right now. The Premier League full times then: Man City 0, Spurs 2, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0, Brentford.
Slamming home a ball which was loose in the penalty area, and with Stoke in full charge, they looked set for number 2 when Manhoff played a stunning through ball to the on-rushing Divin Mumba. The big striker on loan from Manchester City rounded the Saints keeper and left his left leg trailing, and for me, he absolutely dived. Referee Josh Smith felt the same, dished out Mumba's second yellow of the afternoon. And then it was backs against the wall. Downs and Stewart missed sitters for the home team. And then the Welsh international Sorbert Thomas doubled the Potters' lead. An incredible breakaway goal where left-footed he played the ball into the far corner of the net. Howard Bellis slammed a header home to set up a grandstand last 10 minutes, but the visitors' defence stood firm. The Saints' first defeat of the season in the league, but we are top of the league, sing the Stoke fans. Southampton 1, Stoke 2.
So, 100% record continues for Stoke City. 100% record continues for Borough. Stoke are top on goal difference, but West Brom's 100% record has gone at the Hawthorns. For TalkSport, John Dunn.
West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1. As you say, they remain unbeaten, but the 100% record has gone. Albion led on 25 minutes, despite Pompey having the better efforts in the first half. 25 minutes, right of the D. Mikey Johnston saw the Portsmouth defence back off, and he took full advantage with a right-footed dipping shot that landed in the bottom left corner. Alex Mowat nearly got a second early in the second half. His low curling effort coming back off the post. 10 minutes into the second period, Kobe Bishop got his first of the season. A glancing header that looped over Josh Griffiths. That made up for the penalty miss last week in the game against Norwich. Albion certainly pushed for the winner. Ryan Mason, their head coach, saw 2 yellow cards and a red. Initially, he thought Anna Hegber was fouled in the penalty area by Conor Ogilvie. That was ruled out by the referee. Mason shown a first yellow card. Moments later, Hegber chasing a long ball over the top, had his shirt pulled by Regan Paul. That did look like a foul. Mason, incensed once more, saw a second yellow card and sent off. Albion did push for the winner, didn't really create clear-cut chances. Portsmouth now defeated in their last 4 away games. Final score, West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1.
And full-time at Deepdale as well in the Championship. TalkSport, Simon Crabtree.
Yeah, finished here. Preston North End 1, Ipswich Town 0. Look, if you've got a leak in your house or your car, or you just need anything stopping, call Paul Heckingbottom and ask him to send his defence. Ipswich dominated, and I mean dominated possession here. Preston just would not be moved. They soaked up pressure, they put their bodies on the line, and they limited Ipswich's efforts on goal to just long range and scrappy efforts. The visitors just couldn't score. The winner for Preston North End came inside the 11th minute. Preston's only shot on goal, a penalty won and scored by Milutin Osmajic. He scored in each of North End's 3 league games so far this season, of which they've won 2 and drawn 1. Kieran McKenna, well, he must wonder how his side have lost their first league game this season. He might be looking for some more players to come in before the window closes, and hopefully someone who can score for them. At Deepdale, they finished Preston North End 1, Ipswich Town 0.
Well, Ipswich yet to win after 3 games. We're in the bottom half of the table. Preston are top 6. They're 6th in the table, a point ahead of Leicester and Millwall. Birmingham 5th on 7 points after their victory over Oxford today. 3 defeats in a row for Oxford. West Brom in 4th after they were held. Coventry with that 7-1 win over QPR today. up to third in the table, 7 points from 3 games, and the two 100% sides fill the top 2 automatic spots. Middlesbrough after 3 games with 9 points, and Stoke after 3 games with 9 points ahead on goal difference. But let's focus on the Premier League action to come. Arsenal Leeds at 5:30. Let's get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage.
Odds update on TalkSport with Betfair. Play in a different league this season with Safe Sum from Betfair. 18+, gambleaware.org.
And Sam Rosbottom from Betfair is with us. Listen, Ebery Chiesa has signed for Arsenal as a feel-good factor about them. They didn't play well, but won away on the first day. Should be too strong for a newly promoted side. I'm guessing, Sam Rosbottom, Arsenal are favourites this evening.
Yeah, you're not going to get any prizes for getting that spot on, to be honest with you, Adrian. Unsurprisingly, the atmosphere, I'm sure, with Eze being presented in a moment's time onto the pitch in front of the Gunners crowd is going to be absolutely electric, isn't it, for this one? Look, Arsenal as short as 100 to 30 on to beat Leeds today. They've got a really decent record as well against their opponents today, unbeaten in their last 14 against Leeds. They've won their last 6 in a row as well, so they're really, really fancied. But Leeds, they got off to a really positive start last time, didn't they? They made Everton look poor at times on Monday night, as big as 8-1 to cause an upset in this game. The draw in that one, 7-2. Looking at some of the player markets, I'm looking at, while we're going to see Eze on the pitch, another one of their new signings, Victor Gyökeres. While he failed to register a shot in his Premier League debut last weekend against United, punters are still confident in him. He's a really popular selection in bet builders as well. For him to score or assist, he's as short as 2 to 5. For him to get on the score sheet at any point in the game, he's as short as 8 to 11. 2 shots on target in this one, as short as 4 to 7. So he's really fancied to make an impact in this one. Don't forget as well, all those markets and more covered by Betfair's Safe Sub. So if the player you've backed comes off, your selection will roll onto the oncoming player and your bet's still on. Something I quite like the look of in this one between Arsenal and Leeds. I'm looking at the shots on target market, another one covered by Safe Sub. Declan Rice to have a shot on target. He's 5 to 6. Now I know that is odds on, but he's had 2+ shots in each of his last 5 games. That could be a nice one to add into a bet builder. But this should be an absolutely cracking game at the Emirates. Should be an amazing atmosphere. Should be interesting as well. Bit of pressure on Arsenal, really. They are the clear favourites, and they fancy to make it 2 wins in 2.
Well, what they've got to do, though, Sam, is win 5-0. Then they could go above Spurs at the top of the early Premier League table. They're looking up at Spurs right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, they got the business done, didn't they, Spurs, early on, and I suppose Arsenal got the business done with Eze.
They did as well. Eze is officially an Arsenal player, being presented to the Arsenal fans at the Emirates right now, ahead of Arsenal against Leeds. Sam, thanks very much. That's all thanks to Betfair. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Odds update on TalkSport with Betfair. Play in a different league this season with Safe Sum from Betfair. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Full-time classifieds, the only place to do them, to hear them, is on national radio, is here, TalkSport, and they're all coming up in around about 3 minutes' time. Let's go to the G-Tech, because I'm fascinated by Aston Villa. They haven't scored yet this season, Troy Deeney, beaten at Brentford, and the way you and Ian Abrams were describing Aston Villa and Ollie Watkins and those attacking players it was very strange. It was very un-Unai Emery-like, very un-Aston Villa-like. So what's going wrong?
What's going wrong? I think they failed to make a clear distinction that Morgan Rogers is the person who plays a 10 and build around him. He played today a left wing, right wing as an 8 and as a 10. Just today alone. They moved it around and tried to shuffle the pack. It just doesn't work. Too many players wanting to come inside without the ball. They don't want to run without it. They're all wanting it to feet, and it just doesn't work. So a lot of questions for Unai Emery. I expect him to be spiky with moves. I've already told him to be careful because he went after Sam Matterface last week. But I just think he's in a position where he's frustrated. He wants to add some people to his team, but it just looked so one-dimensional, mate. And when you watch it and you get to watch the game, there's about 15 to 20 times, but it was the last 10 minutes, they've got the ball 30, 40 yards out, and they're just passing it from Tyrone Mings to Torres, because Brentford have just sat in and said, go on then, try and do something. And they just go round and round. It was like a pre-season game. For Brentford, it was great. For Aston Villa, so many questions.
And Troy, I mentioned beforehand the big interview Keith Andrews did in the programme, basically outlining what he wants to do with the club, his philosophy. There was that little bit I highlighted where he said he wants to balance his football ideology with pragmatism. And the goal on debut from Dango Ouattara sounded very Route 1, sounded exactly like that, football ideology, but with pragmatism thrown in.
Yeah, but it was a little bit better than that, because as Villa had the ball, and their setup defensively is fantastic. Jordan Henderson doesn't get too many mentions anymore, but he was excellent in there, organising, setting the press. They win the ball back, goes from the left centre back, just back to the keeper, and he just hoofs it up to the halfway line. And then Thiago just wins the flick. It was like watching Alan Shearer back in the day. He just flicked it on, had a runner in behind like a Craig Bellamy. In this situation, it was Ouattara, and he gets through on goal. And he has a shot, keeper saves it, comes back to him, he rolls it into an empty net. But it was so Sunday League basic that, again, if you're Unai Emery, you're going, is this a coaching problem, or is this just two defenders that both get it wrong at the same time? One goes short, one drops off, and in this situation, they both stood at each other and went, to me, to you, and unfortunately, it was Brentford that was the team that went and done it. For Keith Andrews, looking at the smile on his face, mate, walking around here afterwards, clapping the fans, you can see how much that meant to him. That was like a massive weight off his shoulders. I'd expect this Brentford team to grow and be better as the season goes on now after that. They got that monkey off the back and they can kick on.
We'll get more from Troy Deeney at Brentford and from Matt Murray, who's been at Bournemouth 1 Wolves 0 very shortly, but TalkSport the only place for a full classified check of all the results. So let's get all the full times.
This is game day.
Full-time classifieds.
Premier League, Manchester City 0, Spurs 2, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0, Burnley 2, Sunderland 0, Arsenal Leeds is at 5:30. Championship, Charlton 0, Leicester City 1, Hull City 0, Blackburn 3, Swansea 1, Watford 1, Birmingham 1, Oxford United 0, Coventry 7, QPR 1, Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 2, Preston 1, Ipswich 0, Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1, Southampton 1, Stoke City 2, West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1, Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. In League 1, Luton 0, Cardiff 1, Rotherham 2, Wigan 2, AFC Wimbledon 2, Barnsley 0, Bolton 1, Lincoln City 1, Huddersfield 1, Stevenage 0, Mansfield 4, Leyton Orient 1, Northampton 2, Exeter 0, Peterborough 1, Bradford 1, Plymouth 1, Blackpool 0, Port Vale 0, Doncaster 1, Stockport 2, Burton 1, Wickham 2, Reading 2, League 2, Newport 1, MK Dons 2, Walsall 1, Salford 0, Accrington 1, Grimsby 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge United 0, Cheltenham 0, Barnet 1, Colchester 0, Barrow 2, Crawley 0, Tranmere 2, Fleetwood 1, Oldham 1, Gillingham 1, Crewe 0, Harrogate 1, Chesterfield 2, Notts County 2, Bromley 2, Swindon 2, Shrewsbury 1, National League, Morecambe 2, Altrincham 1, Brackley Town 2, Rochdale 1, Braintree 1, Yeovil 0, Eastleigh 2, Boston United 0, Gateshead 2, Tamworth 1, Halifax 1, Forest Green 2, Hartlepool 3, Woking 0, Solihull Moors 1, Aldershot 5, Sutton United 2, Scunthorpe United 3, Truro 0, Southend 1, Wealdstone Carlisle kicks off at 5:30. Scottish Premiership, Celtic 3, Livingston 0, Hearts 3, Motherwell 3, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0. In the National League North, AFC Telford 0, Buxton 1, Curzon Ashton 0, Merthyr 3, AFC Fylde 2, Kidderminster 1's the latest, Hereford 1, Chorley 4, Kings Lynn 1, Darlington 1, Leamington 2, Radcliffe 1, Macclesfield 1, Alfreton 1, Marine 2, Bedford Town 1, Oxford City 1, Spennymoor 2, Scarborough Athletic 3, Peterborough Sports 1, South Shields 4, Chester 0, Worksop 2, Southport 0 is the latest. National League South, Totton 0, Maidstone 1, Bath 2, Eastbourne Borough 0, Chelmsford 2, Chippenham 1, Dover 2, Salisbury 0, Hampton and Richmond Borough 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Hemel Hempstead Town 2, Dorking 0, Hornchurch 3, Farnborough 1, Horsham 2, Torquay 1, Slough Town 2, Ebbsfleet United 0, Tonbridge Angels 0, Chesham United 0, Western Supermare 1, Maidenhead 0, Worthing 0, Enfield 0. Scottish Championship, Airdrie 1, Queen's Park 1, Morton 2, Ayr United 2, Ross County 1, Partick Thistle 3, St Johnstone 3, Arbroath 0. Scottish League 1, Alloa 1, Hamilton 0, East Fife 2, Kelty Hearts 1, Montrose 0, Inverness Caledonia Thistle 2, Peterhead 3, Cove Rangers 1, Stenhousemuir 0, Queen of the South 0, Scottish League 2, Annan Athletic 3, Dumbarton 4, Elgin 2, Edinburgh City 4, the Spartans 1, Forfar 0, Stirling 2, East Kilbride 3, Stranraer 1, Clyde 1, and in the Irish Premiership, Ballymena United 4, Bangor 0, Crusaders 0, Glentoran 2, Dungannon Swifts 0, Carrick Rangers 2, and Glenavon 1, Coleraine 2.
Free goldfish with every goal flash. Game day live. Talk Sport.
5 or 6 yards of Irish Charleston's away.